What's going on, college hoops fans and fellow members of Mountaineer Nation? This is Couz.
And I'm Mountaineer Paul.
And we present to you
Hoops from the Hills.
There we go. All right, guys, this is our first live stream that we've done together here on the channel. We thank you guys for hopping on with us. We're just going to chat it up a little bit about last night's victory. West Virginia 81 over Pitt 56 in college hoops. It was a very good game. Mountaineers looked great, especially late first half and in the second half. Once they stopped turning the ball over, basically, they really looked like a different basketball team. And in my opinion, and I'll let you go, Paul, in my opinion, this team, I hate to get too excited because I know last year's team also did really well in out-of-conference play. And then when they got into conference play, they went down the tubes. So, that could happen again, potentially. But just the eye test tells me this is a whole different ball team right here. They seem to be doing the things that last year's team wasn't doing on a more consistent basis, like rebounding, making shots, going after loose balls, things like that. What do you think initially?
Yeah, listen, we deserve to celebrate. We've had a rough go of it as Mountaineer fans. The roughest since I've been alive, in all sports. So I'm going to enjoy this victory. I'm sure the players are. Man, I really do believe this is a better basketball team. I just think we've got guys in spots that we didn't have last year. It was a Sean McNeil and Taz Sherman show last year or nobody else.
Yeah.
And we've got way more dudes that can fill it up this year, even if it's just a small contribution here or there. But we have guys like Emmitt Matthews didn't have the best game last night, didn't have a bad game, but he's capable of doing what Joe Toussaint did and vice versa. He could go for 18, the next game, or a guy like Trey Mitchell could go for 18 the game after that. When Jose Perez gets here, he's going to be able to do the same thing. And I can't help but be excited. I love it. I'm so excited.
Yeah, me too. I didn't mean to do that, but anyway, I'll take that off. There we go. All right, let's talk. We got the right logo up, got the right background going. Now we can roll. All right, listen. Let's go some team stats. Just to back up what you were saying. Listen to this stat line right here. Let me pull it up here real quick. All right, you've got Joe Toussaint, who averaged like 5 points a game at Iowa. Let's keep that in mind. He wasn't a scorer at Iowa. He was known as a defender and a distributor of the ball. Okay. 18 points, 5 assists on 5 of 11 shooting, and he was only 1 of 5 from 3, but 7 and 9 from the free throw stripe for 18 points. Big game for him. You've got Erik Stevenson, also 16 points. Also had on 7 of 12 shooting, 2 of 5 from 3, no free throws. Emmitt Matthews, who didn't score as much in the second half, but man, he really brought a lot of energy. Had a couple big dunks that got the West Virginia crowd into the game, got the sidelines jacked up. Was even talking smack to their bench, got into technical. But he had 10 points
that
total.
Was petty.
It was petty. I think they were chirping at him. So why didn't they call a double take?
Even the Homer Pitt announcer said, "Hey, we should have let that go."
Yeah, he did.
They had homers.
4 of 7 shooting, 2 of 4 from 3. I tell you what, Emmitt shot. When he left here, he wasn't that consistent of a shooter. Since he's come back, man, he
mechanically has changed it. Yeah, it's not even the same mechanics.
Right. Andrew Starcher says, boy, if they keep playing like they did last night and continue to get better together, then this can be a pretty good team this year. They're expecting another score in January. That's right, with Jose Perez. Todd Withrow says, best I've seen Couz, better definitely from a year ago. Andrew again says, watching my 2 favorite guys that cover WVU teams. Keep up the great videos, guys. Thank you, Andrew. We appreciate that, man.
Appreciate that, Andrew.
Guys, please hit that like button. I know there's only a couple of you on here, but hit the like button for us. Help maybe more people get on here.
If you can.
This being a new channel, we're not going to probably have a lot of people on our first live streams, but that's okay.
It's all right. We're going to remember the OGs.
That's right, baby. Some more stats real quick. Here's the guy that I really like, Mohammed Wague. He only played 13 minutes in the game, but he had 11 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 of 5 shooting. We finally got a guy who can score the ball inside. You remember last year how we struggled to score the ball? Mohammed Wague can score the ball. And the kid's not even that – he's not even the most skilled guy out there. He's very raw, as Paul mentioned. Paul and I were talking last night during the game. Text him.
Yeah.
Once he develops his game as far as a skill set standpoint, he's going to be an absolute beast.
Agreed. Yeah, he is. He's relying on sheer athleticism right now. Yeah. It's crazy. We have probably, gosh, man, I'm trying to think back, maybe to around the. It's hard to say, but this is one of the most athletic teams I can remember us having, as far as we've had a Joe Alexander in the past that could jump out of the gym, mm-hmm. or maybe a Devin Ebanks on certain teams, but I can't remember quite as many. What we talked about last night, plus athletes on one team. Mm-hmm. You think about Aquanco, you think about Trey Mitchell. Well, not Trey Mitchell. He's a good athlete, but he's not what I would consider elite athlete. Like a Erik Stevenson, really good athlete. Yeah. Man, we got so many good athletes on this team, and with Wague.
Yeah, I think Trey Mitchell is. He's just we got what we have to realize with Trey Mitchell. He's only had like not even a full week of practice yet because he's coming off that foot injury. He missed 2 or 3 months of practice because of a foot injury, so he's probably not even 75, 80%, if that.
Yeah, 100% agree with you on that. What I meant was like he's not the type of player that jumps out of the gym.
Right? No,
he's a good athlete.
He's Trey Mitchell is skilled. He's skilled at ball more so than the other guys. I think where they're more athletic.
Definitely,
if that makes sense.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah.
Trey Mitchell had he played 23 minutes last night, believe it or not. It was 3 of 5 shooting, 1 of 2 from 3, 8 points, 6 rebounds. He was actually our leading rebounder last night. So, wow.
I'd like to see him run the offense through him a little bit more, and I think mm-hmm. that's going to happen.
Yeah. I agree.
Because, even though Wague scored the ball inside, like you said, I still think he's probably the go-to guy eventually when we get there to run the offense through down low. Both of them can be. But I really like the idea of the run, inside out game with Trey Mitchell, man. I can't wait till that happens.
Yeah. And Kedrian Johnson only had 7 points last night, but he had 4 steals, guys. 4 steals in one game is a lot in basketball.
Yeah.
The average is really good. I think what Javon Carter
1.5.
I think Javon Carter averaged 2 steals a game, something like that in his career.
Yeah.
So to get 4 in one game is big. Andrew Starcher wants to know, is there a way to support this channel financially? We haven't set anything up yet, Andrew, to be honest with you. We probably should.
If you want to cash app one of us, we can split it maybe or something like that down the line, or you want to do something like that. I have a cash app, or Couz, if you have one.
I do, yeah. Yeah, you
go ahead and put it on there. You can just have them send to yours.
Let me make sure I put it in right. We haven't set anything up like that yet. We have to get to, before we can monetize the channel, we have to get to 1,000 subs and 4,000 hours of watch time, but we can do individual donations like Paul mentioned through Cash App, Venmo, things like that. And then he and I can split the money. Let me make sure I put my Cash App tag on there right. Yeah, cash tag. Okay.
Appreciate that, Andrew.
And Paul and I can split the money, man. Guys, you don't know what it means to Paul and I, for you guys to support us like this. We're just 2 good old boys who like to sit and chat about West Virginia hoops and football over on our other channels. But, it's very humbling to know you guys like what we're doing.
It is. Maybe obsessed is a word that might come up a little bit.
Yeah, really. I gotta kind of rein mine in sometimes.
I know.
But no, I'm really excited. We got guys who can score the ball. We got guys who can play defense. I really like the way this team guards, man. I mean, obviously, we've got Kedrian Johnson and Joe Toussaint, arguably two of the best on-ball defenders in the Big 12.
Yeah.
Bob Huggins says he thinks Kedrian Johnson is one of the most underrated on-ball defenders in the country.
Yeah. He's good.
So we've got those guys. I noticed Emmitt last night. I mean, Emmitt was guarding really well, which Emmitt guarded well when he was here the first time. Defense was never his weakness.
Right.
He's always, but I mean, but I noticed, last year you would see guys giving up free runs to the basket. Guys weren't rotating properly. I didn't see that last night. Yeah, they left a few guys open, but I don't think it was just they were probably out of position a few times. I don't think it was a matter of not hustling or not trying to get to your guy. I think it was just being out of position.
Yeah.
But let's keep in mind these guys haven't been playing together that long. These are all transfers. I'll tell you what, man. If this team ends up continuing down this path and ends up being as good as they look, Bob Huggins has absolutely just killed it in the portal this offseason, man. It looks that way to me.
Another indictment on that other athletic program.
Yeah, I don't even want to go that route. Oh, my gosh. Maybe he can sit down and learn some lessons from Hugs, man.
Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out, I guess because Jimmy Bell's just the kind of guy that Hugs likes. But, man, outside of that first or second play of the game, he's had a really nice hook shot. But it seems like he's struggling to get acclimated a little bit. I expected him to have a bigger impact than he has because, I mean, he's starting, Yeah. And I just wonder what Huggs sees in him over Wague. He's a little more polished overall, but his lack of athleticism is so far through 2 games kind of hurt him a little bit. I'm not saying he's a bad player, and I'm not saying he can't be a good player, but he's looked like he's trying to find his way a little bit out there. He's got old man game, as a lot of my buddies used to call it. He's got to be crafty if he's going to score.
Yeah. Well, I think Hugs always likes guys with big bodies. He likes the big body guys that can't be moved off the block. And he said last year, he got so frustrated last year with his guys that they kept getting pushed around down there. And he said he wasn't going to let that happen again. So he went out and got a guy who's originally was 360 pounds. He's now dropped down to like 280, 285.
Yeah.
But, so he's still a big dude. But
he's probably going to lose some more as the season goes.
I'd say he will. But, I'm with you. I've noticed, though, with Hugs, he doesn't necessarily always start the guys who are the best.
Yeah, and you're right. That's true.
He bases it on I think he bases it on who has the best week of practice, maybe. And also the 5 that he thinks gel the best together. And then also Hugs loves to have guys coming off the bench that can play. I mean, he likes to have a deep bench. So sometimes, and I've noticed this. I've never obviously I don't coach at the level Bob Huggins does, but I coach a girls' travel team, and I've noticed this. I've got a few players that it seems like when they start, they don't play as well, but you bring them off the bench, they flourish. I think there are just certain players who perform better in that spot for whatever reason. Maybe they feel less pressure. I don't know what it is.
You're 100% spot on, dude.
I always felt like Jordan McCabe was like that when he was here. When he came off the bench, or maybe it wasn't McCabe, it was somebody else. McCabe was the opposite. He actually played better when he started. There was somebody else here that was a guard, and whoever it was escaped me now, but they just played it was Tariq Phillip. Tariq Phillip, remember, he was one of the best 6 men in basketball. Jay Sean Page, remember how good he was?
Loved having him. Bench. Loved him.
Those guys.
He's one of them cheese sandwich eating JUCO guys.
That's right, baby. That's right. Yes, Andrew, that is for Cash App, man. If you have it. If not, let me know, and I'll put my PayPal PayPal up there. I think my Venmo account may have expired. I ain't sure.
I don't use Venmo.
I didn't even know that was a thing, but apparently it expired. I got an email about it the other day.
But yeah, dude. So to your point, though, I forgot, in Hugs, man, he is, psychology is a big part of what he does. He uses it in press conferences, to motivate players. He uses it in practice. He's hard on the players in practice, but he also loves them up. Like, he's been doing it for so long. It's old hat to him. He can just, that's really easy for him to do. And I would say, this team, they were together all throughout the summer. It could be just purely psychological is the reason that's happening.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, man. And it's I know you watched the post-game press conference last night, right? Did you watch the whole thing?
I did.
After you messaged me, I sit and watched it too right before I went to bed. And I tell you what, man, you can just tell these guys love Huggins. He loves them. I mean, the way they were playing off of each other, cracking jokes. They asked Erik Stevenson about playing for Hugs, and he said something about – I asked him if he'd ever watched his old game film. He said, I'm sure it's in black and white. They were joking and laughing around about it. I mean, I didn't see that last year as much. You didn't see a lot.
No, it was a lot of moping.
And I really think Hugs, this is a team that he loves, he embraces, they embrace him. They fit the mold of him.
Yes.
They fit, and they're tough, hard-nosed, gritty. They love the game. They're in the gym all the time. They eat, breathe, sleep basketball. And that's the kind of guys Bob Huggins can win with. And that's what excites me about this team, man.
So, question for you. Did you hear the quote that Hugs said to them that you're big on reading between the lines. It's one of my favorite things about you. You're really good at reading between the lines. So, did you hear the quote where Hugs said, hey, there's still one thing we haven't won here. You guys keep getting better, and we might have a shot at it. Did you hear that?
I did not hear that. Who did he tell?
Yeah. It was just a quote that came up during the press conference.
I did not catch that one. I'm sorry.
It was something he told them in the locker room.
Oh, okay.
And he either he or somebody brought it up. I wish I could remember specifically now, but basically there was like, there's one thing we haven't won here at West Virginia. We just need to keep getting better. Now that could just be his coach speak. I'm not saying that 100% for sure he believes this team can win a natty, but I didn't hear him say anything like that last year. He wasn't bullish on that team at all.
No, he wasn't, and I think he believes it deep down. I mean, I think Hugs believes in this team. Now, obviously, he wants them to fix what they do wrong. I mean, he's not going to pamper them or, coddle them at all. He's going to, but that's the thing about this team. You could tell last night with Stevenson and Toussaint, they don't want to be coddled. They want to be coached hard.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell that by them with those guys. That's the kind of guys they are. Josh Witt says, do you think it would bother Bob Huggins if WVU gets a technical foul every game? Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, every game's a little bit much.
Because it hurts the team. Also, what games start getting close? Will this team have a go-to guy in crunch time, or will it be by committee? I think my personal opinion, and I'll let Paul give his, my opinion is they're going to have to figure out who that guy's going to be. I don't know that right now I think it would be by committee. But I think over time, somebody may step up and be that guy. My gut tells me it'll be Erik Stevenson just because of his personality. He's that kind of guy that give me the friggin' ball. I'm going to go score, right? He seems like that guy. Or it could be Emmitt. I don't know. I think time will tell. What do you think?
Last night, I think I would have put the ball in Joe Toussaint's hands and let him do something with it. Mm-hmm. Or Kedrian Johnson. Yeah. Kedrian really, I'm thinking about the play where he threw the ball down court, and then Stevenson was able to dunk the ball. He had a no-look pass. He had some really good-looking plays last night. So it's all about, in a lot of cases, whose ball, who do you trust to put the ball in their hands at the end of the game, and will they make the right decision with it? A lot of times that can win you a lot of games if you're doing it by committee. If you're talking about just somebody that's going to go ISO, yeah, maybe it is Erik Stevenson, or Emmitt, or Trey Mitchell when he's healthy. To your point there, sounds like it's going to be by committee. But this is something we'll find out as the season goes along. Hopefully we develop a closer. That would be great. We need that.
Yeah. Mountaineer's on here. He says, like and subscribe. First time on this channel. Thanks for hopping on, Mountaineer. We appreciate you, man.
Love the name.
Yeah, really. Once again, guys, this is Mountaineer Paul and Couz coming at you here on our Hoops from the Hills channel. We're live talking about last night's West Virginia win over Pitt, 81-56 in the Peterson Event Center. You could see the Pitt fans leaving the game with just a few minutes left. It was pretty much all Mountaineer fans left remaining. I got a feeling they probably sang Country Roads when the game was over. ESPN Plus doesn't stick around long to find out, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
the cameras go off as soon as the game's over, basically. But
I know.
if I had to bet, there was some Country Roads sang last night inside the Peterson Event Center, which would have been pretty cool to be a part of.
It was great. Somebody nicknamed it the Huggins Event Center. I saw last night.
Yeah. What I thought was cool was Trey Mitchell said he's had two dreams come true in the last week. He got to play at the Coliseum and the Peterson Event Center all in the same week. So I thought that was pretty cool. Because he's from the Pittsburgh area. Trey Mitchell's a Pittsburgh kid, man. He grew up in the area, so.
Just curious why he didn't stay closer to home the first time he transferred.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Well, that Texas team last year, that was like in the history of portals, that was one of the best portal teams ever last year.
Yeah.
It just didn't come together for Texas. They had 5 guys transfer in that were the best player on their team somewhere else.
Yeah.
And, that's why Trey Mitchell dropped from 18 points a game to 8 last year, was because there were so many options. Like Texas is going to be good getting it this year. They've still got a few of those guys.
Right.
But, Trey Mitchell, I don't think that was an indictment on him. There were just too many mouths to feed.
Speaking of them, where did Courtney Ramey end up going? I can't remember.
He ended up in Arizona. Wildcats.
Okay. That's right. Because it was down to us in Arizona.
He'd have been a great addition for us, too.
Absolutely.
Another Kedrian Johnson type player. A little bit more offensive game. I wonder how I'll have to check it out, how he's playing so far this year. But, we got Joe Toussaint because of that. If he would have came,
yeah, that's true.
Joe Toussaint wouldn't be here.
Right.
So it could be addition by subtraction.
You never know.
I really like what I see out of Joe Toussaint right now.
I just can't believe he dropped 18 points because, like I said, he wasn't a scorer. Now, just read between the lines. I think that might be one of the reasons he left.
Yeah, look, I did before we came over to this channel, I had Corey from Hawkeye the Storm. You've had Corey on your other show before too.
Yeah.
On my other show, Mountaineer Paul Talks Football. And we did a thing. We talked about Joe Toussaint. My first question, or second question to him was, because I watched his high school tape, and he lit it up in high school. He was a 25-point-a-game scorer in high school in New York. And I saw that offensive ability and was really confused why it didn't transfer to Iowa. I understand that's a big leap from high school to that level of college, especially. But you got to think Iowa had one of their better teams last year.
Right.
They had they got a big that's one of the best bigs in the country. So maybe he just didn't have the opportunity. And to your point, maybe that's why he transferred. But if you watch his high school tape, you'll see he can score.
Yeah. Yeah, he made a comment in a press conference a while back, and I don't remember the exact quote, so I'm not going to try to quote it. But he basically alluded to the fact that Iowa, the offense they ran, the way the style of play they had, it just did not allow him to be himself. It didn't allow him to be loose and free and play the way he wants to play. And the way Hugs plays, Hugs will spread the floor out and give guys like Joe a chance to penetrate. You saw it last night. And that's what he tried to do that last year a little bit. But the problem is last year we didn't have enough guys that could consistently score the ball to make that work.
Yeah.
And we didn't have guys that when they missed shots to go get the rebounds. But Keedy, there were several games last year where Keedy had aims to drive the ball to the hoop. But now we've got Keedy and Joe both who can do that. And I think Joe's probably a touch better at it than Keedy is. I think he's a little bit quicker and has a killer crossover move, man. He made some people look plumb silly last night with that crossover.
A Tim Hardaway crossover.
And then he can either take it or kick it back out to Erik Stevenson or Trey Mitchell or one of these shooters, even Emmitt now, one of these shooters who can drain it from three. And I just really I'm like you, man. I really like what I see out of him. I think he'll flourish in this Bob Huggins system. I think it's perfect for him. And I just really, this group of guys, man, only thing I don't like about these guys is most of them are seniors and won't be here next year.
Yeah, right.
So we got to enjoy.
And I'll tell you what, the Davis freshmen too.
Yeah, I'm
really looking forward to seeing them come along, especially Josiah Davis. I think he's going to be a really good player. He's had some playing time, but just hasn't had enough time to jump in there just yet. But he keeps talking about them too. He said these
Yeah.
freshmen are going to have something to say about it down the line.
Yeah.
So
Number 22.
we'll see.
And I'm not, is 22 Davis or Harris? It's Davis, right? The one
That
actually
is,
plays.
that might be Harris
Well, hold on. I'll tell you. Let me look in the
or Dave. That's who I'm talking about. So I could be off on the name as well. The
I get
two
'em mixed up.
Josiahs confuse me all the time. I think it's Harris though.
It's Harris. Harris is the one who's played.
Yeah.
He played 4 minutes last night.
That's who I'm talking about, Josiah Harris.
But did you see the tweet Josiah Davis put out after the game?
Loved it. I loved it. Yeah, it was such a good
I'm gonna
tweet.
read that real quick to the ones that see this. This is the kind of kid you want on your team. And if there's any young athletes watching this right now, this is the kind of attitude you need to have. Josiah Davis puts out a tweet. It says, and I quote, and it shows a picture of him running back into the locker room, celebrating. It says, and he's got street clothes on too, by the way. It says, regardless if I play 30 seconds, 2 minutes, or even if I don't play at all, I'll forever keep this smile on my face. I'm a Mountaineer. I wear West Virginia across my chest, and regardless of the outcome, I want West Virginia to win. I love my brothers and love the organization. Great win and a heart emoji. I mean, and I retweeted it, obviously, but, man, I'm just telling you. It's hard not to – that kid right there, do you realize how many people will now love this kid for the rest of his life over that one tweet?
It's true.
Because that is the epitome of West Virginia and our culture, man. That's the kind of kids we love here.
Yeah.
And this kid actually is from West Virginia too, by the way. I don't know if a lot of people.
He is. That's very true. I didn't even really put that in my head earlier. I didn't even click that together. But you're right.
He's living his dream, man, and he's loving every minute of it. Even though he's not getting to play much right now, he's loving it, and he knows he's going to get his chance, and he's embracing it. And I think his future's bright here. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him play later on down the road, whenever that is. But this team was loaded with seniors, man. You got Erik Stevenson, Joe Toussaint, Keidrian Johnson, Trey Mitchell. All four of those guys are seniors. There may be some more I'm leaving out, but I think Wague and Bell are both. Bell may be a senior too. Actually, I'm not sure.
Not sure.
The portal's got this where I can't keep up with who's what now.
That's something I haven't even looked at yet this year. Is the like you said, but the portal. I mean, this is something usually you have memorized just because you keep up with the team so much. It's not even something I have to think about. But now with the portal, it's not even something. It's like the last thing I pay attention to.
I know, because it's just too hard to keep up with. But let's real quick. I'm gonna read the team stats off real quick from last night's game. Field goal shooting. West Virginia was 30 of 57, which is 52.6% shooting. Man, that is phenomenal. Pitt was
and it was
45, 42.2%. What was you gonna say? Something? I'm sorry.
Oh, it was in the 60s in the first half.
Yeah.
67% in the first half or whatever we shot.
Yep. 3-point percentage. West Virginia was 8 out of 21, which is 38.1, which is not bad. Really, it's almost getting close to 40%.
That's okay.
Pitt was 5 out of 23, 21.7%. Free throws, 13 out of 19, 68.4. Pitt was 13 of 18 for 72.2. Rebounding, we out-rebounded them 30 to 27. Offensive rebounds, 8 to 7. Defensive rebounds, 22 to 20. Assists, 14 to 7. Steals, we had 6, they had 4. Blocks, we had 1, they had 3. Total turnovers, we had 11, they had 19. So we forced 19 turnovers last night. And we had more assists than turnovers. Last year's team had a negative assist to turnover ratio.
Yeah, that's an indicator of a really bad basketball team.
Yeah. So this team it was 14 to 11, which is not huge, but keep in mind the game before, the Mount St. Mary's game, I think we had 19 or 20 turnovers. This game we only had 11, and I think 7 or 8 of those were in the first half. Fouls.
Jose Perez is going to help with that.
I think so too. Fouls, we had 19, they had 21. We did have Emmitt did get to one technical. And then the largest lead, West Virginia, was 25, which is what they ended up winning by. So, that was the winning margin was the largest lead of the game. So they turned it on at the end. but
You know,
really impressive performance overall.
yeah, and I get to thinking, and I have to remind myself that this is a Pitt team that while they brought in a bunch of transfers, they were still 11-21 last year. A lot of their fans aren't happy with what Capel is doing there in his 5th year. 6-14 in the conference last year. So even and they're probably their best player didn't play last night. I wish Hughley could have played so we could have got just a tad bit more of a barometer where we are.
Yeah.
We still haven't faced a big like him that is, he's probably one of the 10 best players in the ACC. So
right.
we missed I think we dodged a bullet. Do I think he was worth 25 points? No. I think we're the better basketball team for sure. I think if we played them, we'd beat them way more times than we lost. But I do think Pitt played bad too. I think they had a hard time handling our pressure. They're in 10 or 12 games, they're going to be a better team. Huggs said it too after. He said they're like on tape, they're a good basketball team.
Mm-hmm.
And they're probably not going to miss. They went 0 in the second half from the 3-point line. So I don't think that would happen again either in another game.
Right. Yeah, probably not. But I mean, you got to give our guys some credit too. They played good defense, I thought.
Sure.
They were.
Oh yeah.
They were closing out on shooters pretty well. A lot better than last year's team, man. Last year, I've never seen so many open 3-pointers in my life as what we gave up last year, man. It was pitiful. But this team,
I have to temper my expectations a little bit, Couz, or I'll.
Me too, man. Well, I got burned.
I'll go to the moon.
I got burned. What did we finish out of conference? Like 14-2 or 13-2 or something ridiculous.
Yeah, we started out 11-0.
Yeah, but if you look back at last year's team, they were getting out rebounded in games, even that they were winning. Like we were getting out rebounded by mid majors last year, and I would notice that when I did the few basketball recap videos I did last year on my Couz's Corner channel. I went back and looked, and I would notice those stats, and I'm going, that doesn't sound like a Bob Huggins team. I'm surprised we won this game, but it was just a matter of we had more talent than them, right? But once we got playing teams that we didn't have more talent than, we got killed because we couldn't rebound, we couldn't guard, and it burned us. Well, this team can rebound and guard. Now, like I said, we're going to play some really good basketball teams here in a couple of weeks when they go to Portland and play in that tournament out there. There's Gonzaga's in that tournament. Duke is in that tournament.
We're going to lose a couple games early here.
Yeah,
but it's going to be okay.
There's some good teams, so we're going to lose a few games here probably. So I want Mountaineer Nation to understand this team still has only played together 2 full games and 2 scrimmage games. Okay, so they still got some gelling to do. They still got some kinks to work out. They're still turning the ball over at times, a little bit too much. So they still have things to improve. So, I'm not crowning them national champs just yet. But I want to enjoy this win over our rival. And despite what Bob Huggins said before the game in the press conference that he didn't talk to them about it, they knew. You could tell by the intensity, they knew that game was a rivalry game.
The Stevenson comment, dude. Remember what he said?
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was so awesome. He said, "Listen, they didn't have to educate me." He said, "I went to the football game." He's like, "I saw that stadium and how they were full." He was like, "And then I went back next week and it was empty." He's like, "That's all I needed to know about the West Virginia Pitt game."
Yeah.
That was so funny.
You know what's funny? The way my brain works, when he said that, made that comment, my brain went to, why did he go to a Pitt game again?
I thought the same thing.
Well, I don't think he said he went to the game. He just said, I watched the game.
Right.
I have to go back and listen again. I think he said,
you're probably right.
The next week their stadium was empty. But
it was a big deal on social media too that they were empty.
Oh, it was, yeah. But the dude is he's so confident. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was talking about how he loves to trash talk and he has to tone it down a little bit. And Hugs goes, "You think?" Or no, you don't. Being sarcastic.
He's the true definition of an alpha male. There are probably people he has met in his life that probably hate his guts. He's like a Michael Jordan type personality that it's either you're going to get on board or you're going to bite your lip. He's just that type of dude.
Maybe that's what this team needs.
Absolutely, is what this team needs. Because I like players like that.
He's going to pull you along. You know who was like that? And I hate to bring up football, but you know who was like that on the football team a few years ago? And I didn't like the guy at the time.
Skylar Howard.
Skylar Howard. He was a little cocky. He liked to talk smack. He spoke his mind. You know, he called the fans out a few times for talking crap to him. And I mean, and I didn't like the guy at the time. He reminded me a little bit too much of Baker Mayfield at the time, to be honest.
Yeah.
He wasn't to that extreme, but I've never been a guy who likes cocky players. I like the guys who make the play, hand the ball to the referee, and get back in the huddle and keep their mouth shut. That's the kind of players I've always liked. But with that being said, guys like that are winning. That's probably why I never won a lot in my life too. You know what I mean? Because that wasn't my personality. I was not, and I didn't play with a lot of guys like that. You know, we had guys. We never had anybody on my teams that coming up through high school that were the alpha male types that could lead you to a victory. You know, and you need guys like that on your team if you want to be successful, in my opinion.
Interesting. I agree. Definitely agree with that. Too bad we don't have a guy like that on the football team this year.
Yeah, really. ESPN was talking about Neil Brown this morning. They said sources are saying Lions will be gone with Brown. That's pretty much what I'm hearing too.
Yeah. We've all been told that.
On it, actually. What's that?
Yeah, we've all kind of been told, you know, through one channel or another, like whether it's our friend or, you know, me and Couz talk a lot, and we have different people we talk to, branched off from that.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, we hear if there was something that was going to happen, I feel like we would know about it. You know, probably right after the immediate people who know, like in the media.
Mm-hmm.
So, not a surprise that Shane Lyons has to be gone first. You know, they're married to the hip. You know, that's just the way it is.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I did hear yesterday, and I don't know how accurate this is, but I did hear yesterday during West Virginia Board of Governors met yesterday, and apparently they agreed to the grant of rights deal with the Big 12. So I guess they're going to sign on to another grant of rights through 2031 so that they can be a part of this TV deal. And so
they better.
We're married to the Big 12 for another 9 years, which I'm okay with. I know a lot of fans may not be, but I know there's a lot out there who wants to go to the ACC, but I just don't see that happening right now.
If I ever get rich enough, we'll be independent.
There you go.
Yeah, but
yeah. Well, Paul, is there anything else you want to talk about? I know it's 11:30. We got the football game coming up here in about 30 minutes, so you know we probably need to cut loose here. But any last words you want to throw out there?
Couz and I have other channels if you like to follow football. Couz is with Couz's Corner. I'm with Mountaineer Paul Talks Football. If you haven't gotten over there yet, guys, go subscribe to either of our channels and both. We both have different takes on what the football team is doing and all that kind of things. So I think we do a pretty good job of covering that football team. So
yeah, absolutely. Mountaineers, I guess, do you guys think it will be at the end of the season or sooner? I don't think they'll do anything until the season's over. That's my opinion. I could be totally wrong. I mean, I would like to have seen them do something sooner, but I don't think it's going to happen. But I think when the season's over, especially unless we went out and make a bowl game, which I don't see happening, I look for them to. Yeah. I think as soon as the season's over, within a day or two, we'll get an announcement of something happening. And my expectations, and I've not heard this from the university or any inside media source, but I have had somebody tell me this that supposedly is in the know. And I've also heard it from multiple other people too, that Shane Lyons is likely going to go first and that they may let the interim AD and or the new AD that they hire make a decision on Coach Brown. So for that reason, he could end up coming back another year potentially, until they get the AD situation sorted out. But like I said, don't take that as a gospel, because I didn't hear that from, that didn't come from, I don't have any contacts at the university. I have to go through other channels who do have contacts at the university. And Paul does the same thing, but that's what I'm hearing. Like I said, we'll see how it plays out, but I think it'll be at the end of the season, to answer your question, Mountaineer.
So think about it this way too. And it's just something that I hadn't considered when I made some other videos, and just my opinion saying I felt like he was going to be gone.
Yeah.
We've never fired a head coach in the middle of the season in the history of West Virginia University football. It's never happened. You can't find it. So history can be your guide. A lot of those same people are either a donor or in the decision-making, or at least have a voice in that room. So that's a belief that sometimes, while it's an outdated one, I feel like can't do nothing much about. We're not we have no control.
Right. Yep. WD right there with Kenny's on here. Thanks, Kenny, for hopping on. He
Hey,
said,
Kenny.
we do need to do something. Yeah, I agree. I think most of us agree. But, like I said, we'll see what that ends up being and what route they end up going with this thing. But right now, let's go beat Oklahoma, right?
Let's do it, man.
I still want to see them win the games.
Oh, I'd love to go 6-6.
I will never cheer against my team, man. I can't do it.
No.
All right, guys. Well, listen, I appreciate everybody hopping on here. I think we're going to cut this thing loose now. Get ready for the football game and let everybody get their snacks and their beer, whatever it is you want to go grab. And I don't really have anything else to say about the basketball game. I think we've covered pretty much every base we can cover. So with that being said, there's one more comment coming in here. That is what I'm hearing as well. So we will miss transfer portal because of this. Maybe not.
What do you mean? What do you mean by miss it?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really. I think he means we will not do well in the portal. I don't necessarily think that we've not done well in the portal with Brown, so I don't know that it can get much worse. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
How do we know that firing him won't actually help in the portal?
What's up, BPA?
If he's the reason people are leaving, it might actually make more people stay. I mean, let's be honest. BPA says, let's go Mountaineers.
Yeah, it's one of my loyal listeners.
Oh, he means the first transfer portal window. Yeah, I got you. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, the first portal window starts in December.
Yeah,
I think he'll be gone before December. My honest opinion. If they're going to fire him this year, I don't think they're going to fire Neil Brown right now. I think they're going to give him another year, but that's just my opinion.
Well, the first report we got was, and then I know we got to get off here, was everything I've heard is they want to make him fire all the staff, right?
Yeah.
Or at least a lot of the staff. I think there's a few guys that deserve to stay. Andrew Jackson, guys like that, Chad Scott. But we don't make those decisions, man. So we'll see what happens.
Maybe even Graham. I don't know.
Sounds like people are in denial of what the problem is, in my opinion, but whatever.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I'm not saying that Shane Lyons should get off the hook at all. But to me, letting Coach Brown stay is a mistake. That's just my opinion. I just don't.
I agree.
I think he's the problem. And I think if you let him stay, you're just making it worse. I mean, I just don't see how that helps you. But we all know money means something. And he's got a huge buyout. And I don't think the university wants to pay it. I'll just be honest. And I don't think the donors want to pay it. So our donors are not big on spending money frivolously. West Virginia University has always been methodical and wise, or I don't know about wise, but they've tried to make wise decisions financially. Not always worked, but they're frugal with their money, man. They don't just go around throwing money out like a lot of these other universities do. So, and maybe that's a good thing in the long run. I don't know. But I think in their eyes, paying a guy not to work is just not a great idea. So anyway, all right, guys, we're going to hop off of here. Thank you guys for hopping on. For anybody who's watching this, who didn't catch the live, this will be up after it's over, so you can go back and watch it at your leisure. So with that, we're signing off. Go ahead.
That like and subscribe button if you haven't already done it.
Yeah. Don't forget to like and subscribe, even if you're not catching it live. The likes and subscriptions still help us out, whether it's live or not. So make sure to do that. Make sure to tell your friends about us. If you got any friends that like West Virginia hoops, let them know about this channel, Hoops from the Hills, and about our football channels as well, Couz's Corner and Mountaineer Paul Talks Football. With that being said, guys, we're out. Until next time.
You country roads.
That's right.